Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ohmwrecker, and I'm looking at Hotline Miami today by Dennation Games. This is a really violent game. If you don't like violence, you don't like blood, you don't like seeing limbs blow off, then don't watch this video. If you do like those things, stick with me because you're going to like this. So, as you might be able to tell already, this is an indie game. It's got a top-down perspective. It's got old-school looking graphics. We're talking like 8-bit-ish. I don't even think, I wouldn't even call this 16-bit. It's definitely a very, very old school look, almost like something you'd see on the Nintendo. And you are a hitman, essentially. You're given these missions, and you just got to go and kill people. Sounds easy, right? Well, it's not quite so easy. And the game initially tries to walk you through it a little bit. You play with the mouse and keyboard. There's no joystick stuff here, no gamepad stuff. I mean, it's strictly mouse and keyboard, at least for now. And once you get past a little tutorial, you go into this psychedelic type room where you're talking to all these characters that have masks on, and they're acting like they haven't seen you, or that you've seen them, or whatever else, or I don't know you, this owl says. It really doesn't make sense early game, but the game kind of unfolds as you play. You learn more about the character as the time goes on, and yeah, I mean, there's definitely a story there. Even though it's got this whole little like Nintendo look, it's definitely a story. So you get your missions from answering machine messages, and initially it just seems like it's somebody leaving you a voicemail about cookies that you ordered, and next thing you know, you open up this package and it's got a mask inside. It's telling you to go get a briefcase and leave it inside a dumpster. And then you go into your first mission. You hop in your car and there you are. You choose a mask. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is just yet, or if there's going to be buffs associated with these masks, but you pop on a mask and then next thing you know, you're off and killing people. The enemies that you're facing off against seem to be Russian mobsters. I'm not 100% clear yet, but that's what I've gathered from playing through this game. And yeah, I mean, they carry a wide variety of weapons, and they are there to kill you. They have no hesitation to killing you if they see you. So you might be thinking this footage looks like the game's easy. I can tell you right now, it's not. You're going to die a lot. Like, think like Super Meat Boy a lot. Or if you haven't played Super Meat Boy, think like Dark Souls or something. Like, there are going to be a lot of deaths with every mission. Maybe not the first one. Maybe you might survive that. But I guarantee you, by the time you're in like the third mission, you're going to be getting your first deaths. Once you get through a level, though, and you actually defeat all the enemies and hop into your car, this is where the game kind of shares more and more of the story with you. You go into neutral areas and you talk to, a lot of times, a clerk that seems to work at like 20 different places. I swear to God, you see this guy everywhere. And he shares some interesting stuff with you. Additionally, usually when you see him, he leaves you a package and says it's on the house. It doesn't matter where he is, if you're at like a pizza place or you're at a bar, he's always got something for you, and it's usually right after you kill people. So I feel like this guy is like a critical part of the story. But anyways, eventually you find your way back home, and then wouldn't you know, you got a new answering machine message. And it's always something new. Like in this case, you got to go babysit some kids and give them discipline. Well, guess what? Those kids turn out to be these Russian mobsters, and this time they're armed with guns. And those guns, they draw the enemy. They'll come into the room and try to blast you. And early game, again, it's not too bad. They're usually not going to come from more than one area. But as you get further and further in the game, the enemies are going to be in different places. They're going to have different routes to get to you. And it does become more difficult. So there are a number of ways to kill guys. Typically, melee is the safest bet if you don't want to attract a lot of attention. But that doesn't mean the enemies won't hear you kill people. Sometimes they will. Additionally, as the game progresses on, the difficulty ramps up in other ways too. Like, you'll start getting into rooms that have glass panels at the edges and stuff like that, where the enemies, they can fire through them and kill you. So at that point, once you get to that portion of the game, then you gotta start worrying about the enemies and are they going to be able to see you or not and fire guns at you or not. And then they start introducing heavier type characters that could take more bullets. You end up getting swarmed by dogs sometimes, and the dogs can like kill you instantly. It's very, very difficult to take them out with melee weapons. It's usually better used ranged. And of course, like many other games, when you get to an end of an act or a chapter, you're going to run into a final boss wave type encounter. Some are harder than others, but either way, it's definitely something to give you some level of challenge. And there's more and more cutscenes typically at the end of these, which introduce you to more and more of the story elements as you try to figure out what is going on, who are these psychedelic masked characters, and whatever else. I don't want to share too much more though, guys, because the press build did have a fair amount of content. I really don't know how much of the full game is in the press build. I know it's not the whole thing, but I don't want to spoil anything. You know, I don't want you guys to hear about any of the story elements I saw, just so that it stays fresh for you guys if you want to check it out. But I can tell you that this game is definitely coming to Steam. I'd imagine it's going to come to other download platforms as well. And the price, I don't know the exact price yet, but I would imagine it's going to be 10-15 bucks or so. I can't see this being like a $50 game. It's a lot of fun though. I do like it, and I'm really interested to see what the final game is going to bring. I was a little bit skeptical about the developers being able to maintain a difficulty curve as the game went on, and somehow they managed to do it. Between the different room layouts, the enemy types that change, and the glass panels, stuff like that, without a doubt the difficulty level definitely goes up as the game progresses, each and every mission. So that's all for this video, guys. I do hope to revisit this again down the road, but this was Hotline Miami by Devolver Digital. You'll be able to pick it up later this year on Steam, and it's also worth noting that Hotline Miami has a really awesome electronica type soundtrack, and hopefully they include it with the game. If so, it's going to be an even bigger value. But that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and of course tell your friends about my channel. I always appreciate when you guys do that. It helps me a lot. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.